After more than 15 years of training as an elite gymnast and over a decade of coaching, Carl Paoli offers a fresh philosophy on training by connecting movement styles to fit your specific purpose, while also giving you a simple framework for mastering the basics of human movement. Last time I saw Carl, we were hanging out at Princeton University. First time I ever met Carl was when Barbell Shrugged went to interview him back in October of 2013. And that's the infamous episode where Carl, at the beginning, gets Chris Moore into his very first, or one of his first handstands, I think. Chris really didn't believe that Carl was going to be able to coach him into one. Kind of let him do it. And as he was going, I'm sure was thinking, yeah, cool, Carl, nice progressions. And then, lo and behold, got the man in the handstand. So Carl is a great coach, not just because he knows what he's talking about, but because he's effective in how he communicates to the people he's coaching. So definitely had to get Carl on here and see what his background was. So ask him a whole bunch of things I think you'll learn a lot from. So I hope you enjoy. Here we go. C to the P, Carl Paoli. I want to say something like the father of human movement, but obviously you can't say that. So we'll say like the cool older brother of human movement.
There you go.
What's up, dude? How you been?
Not much. Just, living the American dream. Out here working hard and trying to make some moves. And, everything is good, though. Hustling. I see your hustle. Social media presence is picking up. I'm feeling something's in the works. Yeah, definitely something in the works. It's always something. It's been 10 years, actually. I was thinking about it the other day. It's been 10 years of just really grinding in so many different aspects of my life, and I just feel like every year just gets better and the opportunities are there, and we just need to take advantage of the time we live in, and it's one of those things. It's the time is now, and pushing as hard as I can in all these different directions, and just trying to keep it going. Yeah, and then of course once it comes to a peak, there people say that you did it in one night. Overnight success. That's right, overnight success. That's what we all hope for, and instant gratification. That's life for you, right there. Exactly. Yeah. So last time I saw you, we were both at the. We were in Albert Einstein's lecture hall at Princeton, which was pretty freaking cool. That was amazing, actually. I know, right? I don't think I actually knew that until like after we had podcasted. I think we thought it was something else, and then it was like we did another podcast with Romanoff, and then we found out like that was Einstein's lecture hall. I was like, no way, that's pretty cool. It's crazy. That was fun. So what you been up to since then? Catch me up a little bit. That was in Princeton, and that was before the holidays, right? Well, since then, I've been working really hard on first giving myself a break over the holidays after going through big transitions from, writing the book, getting the book out, making sure that the book is stable and doing well and it's getting in the right hands and people understand why I even wrote the book in the first place. That's been one big deal. I had, in terms of business, the business setup that I usually had, I had in the past was with a business partner, and now I'm, flying solo. So that kind of separation right there, working on just trying to find my voice and the way I want to do things. That's been a big part. And yeah, trying to take care of family and just making sure that everything is just dialed in. So that's the big picture stuff. And then in kind of nitty-gritty details, just making sure that my seminar continues to grow and that people continue to understand the message that I'm trying to deliver in terms of, hey, human movement is kind of important to know, and especially if you're into the fitness industry and sports, this is something that we should all be speaking and just making sure that that's dialed. And then, of course, we live in a time of internet is key, and just being able to improve my presence there and clarify for people has been a big one. So currently working on a project, freestyleconnection.com, which is going to be a new subscription-based website that I'm launching hopefully next month. This is the first time I'm actually saying it out loud.
Exclusive.
So yeah, exclusive right here, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's the next step. It's kind of going to be the home of the old gymnastics WOD, and just pushing forward with new material and really showing who I am and not being limited by the word gymnastics and whatever box I've been put in the past.
Oh man, I'm excited about that. I feel like recently in my life I've been paying. You said it would be a membership site, so I'm guessing that comes with a fee. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. So, it's like a cup of coffee or something. Yeah,
recently I've been paying for a lot more stuff, mainly because I have more money than I did as a broke-ass pizza man, but I tell you, I have no problems doing it, because the times that I've put money towards something that I'm interested, that I could very well go find the same information on the internet for free, I'm telling you, man, it's that payment that actually makes the change happen. So I'm super excited to see what you put out and what's going to be on that website. I bet you it's going to be sweet.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's but I hear you. It's hard sometimes to ask people, hey, why don't you just pay me for the information that I've been giving you for free in the past? And it's not really that. It's really using the currency as just almost like an agreement. Hey, I am here to provide the best content I can provide. And in order to do that, there are some things that I need to do, and that's lay this foundation. And it's kind of entering into an agreement. It's like saying, hey, I'm going to find a coach, and I'm going to engage with that coach and have some sort of agreement that's going to guarantee that we are both putting our best into it. And it's tricky sometimes to even just talk about money, but it's just another language, and it's like an agreement, and it's like shaking hands with a friend and saying, hey, this is my commitment to you. And yeah, I can't wait to show people what it is and launch it. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I think most people who kind of dig what you are doing, they were glad to, like I was, glad to buy a copy of the book and so forth, and they'll probably further support you. The thing with the membership site is, once you get in there, that's going to be for people who are wanting to pay, and goes back to what we were just talking about. But it's like, even if you don't end up joining, there's so much free Carl material out there in the world that, that's not going to be the only place to catch Carl, right?
Right. No, I mean, I have over 500 videos that are floating around the internet, and they're free, and they're on YouTube. You can find them, and there's something like 32 articles and videos on the CrossFit Journal that I've done. So that's a fair amount there too. And then, of course, there's other content like the book, as you said. I've had a bunch of DVDs that I was giving away for a while. And yeah, there's a lot of free stuff that's out there, and people have a lot of access. And now it's almost like saying, this is the new me, this is who I really am, and this is who I'm growing into. And in order to get there, I need to make some big commitments with myself, and that takes some building and structure. And yeah, I guess I'm just excited. It's an amazing thing what we've been able to go through, and I feel like I've paid some dues in certain areas, and other areas, I'm still just growing. I haven't figured it out.
That's what we love so much about you, is that you're openly ready to say that you have no idea, while at the same time being willing to share everything that you know. And that's kind of our mantra too. So I think that's why we click so well. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit for those who, I'm sure most people at this point in our audience know who you are, but you've been coaching for over 10 years, correct?
Mm-hmm. Well, technically, I started coaching 18 years ago, but formally coaching for 10.
So what I'm really curious to know is, what was Carl doing before CrossFit and before coaching?
Before CrossFit and before coaching, I wanted to go to the Olympics. That's what I wanted to do as a gymnast. That didn't really happen. I wasn't really cut out to be a gymnast, but I learned a lot from gymnastics. Of course, I went to school. I didn't really know what I wanted to study, but I knew that having an education was important. That's something that was just kind of instilled in me, and from my parents and family and friends. And I ended up studying environmental science because I felt like the planet we live on is very valuable, and we need to take care of it, and it's important to have a place for the future generations to actually be able to grow up and experience what we're experiencing today. So I really believed in this concept of studying biology and human nature. And eventually, through that, I was constantly going back to sports, and snowboarding and wakeboarding were a big part of kind of my young 20s, and that led me back into the world of sport, and subsequently made me go into coaching, and I thought I was just going to do that for a minute, but I ended up realizing that I had something to offer, and I just went for it 100%.
Dang, it sounds like my story, except for I was supposed to only be delivering pizzas for a summer, and then ended up doing it for 5 years, but we'll skip over that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I was, shoveling poop for a good couple of years, and handing out pamphlets on the street and getting ignored, and told that I was a douchebag like every 5 seconds. So
what were some of your early jobs before now? Yeah, what were you doing?
When I was doing gymnastics, I did coach gymnastics, and I was 15 when I first started coaching a little bit on a regular basis. But then once I went to school, I was full-time school, really into it. I interned. I did a lot of internships. I was in a genetic engineering lab. I was in a marine mammal lab here in Sausalito. I was in a marine biology lab interning for actually 2 full summers in Singapore. And then eventually I was selling tickets at an aquarium. I worked as an interpretive naturalist in an elevator where I would take people from one, fish tank to another. And, this fun time of my life actually led me into a little bit of modeling, believe it or not.
Hey, I bet the girls know that's right. No one's complaining about that, I bet.
If you go to alpacadirect.com, you will find some hilarious pictures of me sporting alpaca sweaters and some collared shirts. So that's where I was making my money before I started doing something in the coaching world.
I know a lot of ladies who will be at that website before this interview is even finished.
Oh, God, that was funny.
Is there anything in any of those jobs that you were able to, any of the kind of like the shit like college student, high school student jobs that you had before now that kind of that carried over into being able to communicate well, be a good coach or anything like that?
Every single job, every single experience that I've had has taught me something that has carried over. And if it didn't teach me something, it at least generated the motivation, and it put the fire under my ass to want to go out and make a difference. And, I grew up in Spain. I must admit I had a great living situation. My parents, had a beautiful house. I lived by the water. I had access to boats and cars and just easy living, really. I grew up very fortunate, and I'm so thankful for that. But my parents really instilled in all of us that hard work is important, and what you have right now is not something that you should take for granted, because it all comes and goes, but it's what you do with what you have right now and how you transfer that over. And every little job, every class I attended, it taught me something that transferred over, and I'm really grateful for that. And it's really served me really well. And I think it's working out so far.
Nice. So you were a gymnast, and you mentioned you started coaching at age 15. A couple questions on that. Prior to you coaching, I want to know, at what age did you decide to take fitness and health and make it a priority?
My mom actually put me in gymnastics when I was 5, and it was just an after-school program. And I think I realized very early on that, that moving your body was very important, not just because it made you feel better, but it was almost like this basic language that we all spoke. So I think it was at the age of 5 that's where it kind of made sense already, that's what we had to do.
And did you fall in love with that idea? Or, I mean, I'm sure at age 5 it was more like, this is the fun thing I get to do after school, and you probably weren't thinking about your health and fitness at that point.
No, it was just cool. I think I started thinking about my health and fitness after I quit gymnastics. All of a sudden I was sitting, I was probably 21 or 22. I was sitting on the ledge at my parents' house, just on this little terrace we had, and my mom was like, "Hey, you don't have a six-pack anymore." And I was like, "What? What? I don't have a six-pack?" And she kind of just brought it to my attention. I was like, "Oh, so my body is kind of changing," and I didn't really understand what that meant. But that's when I started kind of exploring a little bit more outside of snowboarding and wakeboarding, which were my thing, and I started going to the gym, and people were talking about nutrition, and I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of know something about this. In gymnastics, they were telling us that this was important. I just thought that it was only dedicated for athletes, that, you know, the average Joe didn't really need health and didn't need to worry about nutrition or sleep or training or moving. You just had to kind of live. And that's, I guess it was early 20s where I really became conscious of that.
Okay, so at that age, what clicked to make that, or at what point, once you had that shift, did you really want to take it and make it a priority, where you took it from, yeah, this is something I'll do for my health, to, no, I got to get this in order, and this is now on the top of the to-do list, or up there with the rest of the stuff?
You know what? It's always been a battle for me, because I'm the guy that was I just want to work really hard in the gym, and then I want to eat some crap later on, and I don't want to sleep too much. I want to stay up at night and then wake up early and maybe go wakeboarding. And I didn't understand what that meant. And I guess it's just something that I've had in the back of my head, where I'm like, you need to continue to learn about these things. But it wasn't in the details of nutrition or sleeping. It was more in living that lifestyle that I was really realizing that I wanted to live a lifestyle. And within that lifestyle, there were certain things that I needed to change, and that was diet, and that was sleeping, and then how many hours I worked, and giving myself the opportunity to hang out with friends, have a family, just that balance. And I think that's where, at the age of 22, 23, I really started thinking that this is important, and this is something I need to pay attention to.
Can you remember back in those times? I mean, you came from a gymnast background, so this question might not be as juicy for you as it might be later for some other people, but can you tell me some of when you were getting into actually training, not just your gymnastic stuff, but when you were getting into the idea of being healthy and being fit, what were some of the dumbest things you did, diet and exercise-wise, to get in shape?
I definitely put some of that ab cream on. Yeah, put this cream on your belly and you'll burn the fat off. I was like, that's how I get a six-pack. I was like, that was,
Oh, man. How long did you do the cream?
Dude, maybe a good year.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that was embarrassing, but I did that. I was constantly looking, and I couldn't help. I was like, oh, the Men's Health magazine, let's see what they're doing in here. And I was so excited about these guys. I'm like, these guys look ripped. If I just do this little routine, I'm going to feel better. And I would do the routines in the magazines. I'm like, this is not doing anything. And then actually, when I moved to the U.S., I found P90X by Tony Horton, okay? And still to this day, I love the way Tony Horton presents, and he's just a funny guy. He is out there, but he's honest, and he has this way of communicating that's very engaging, and it's all about his energy that you just feel attracted to that. And through that, I started thinking, you know what? This guy is giving very basic movement patterns and workouts, but he's doing it in a way that keeps you engaged. And I started thinking engagement is key. Making it relevant is key. And that was some of the transitions from, putting the cream on my belly to actually taking action and using what I knew to make a difference. So yeah, those were some of the steps for sure.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, Tony wouldn't be doing it if he wasn't the guy for the job. I mean, obviously he can help a lot of people change, whether P90X is your gig or not. He's the catalyst to kind of that change for sure. So, and you mentioned health and fitness too. I think it's easy once you've kind of gotten into a cooler world, so to speak, to look back on nutrition and fitness or muscle and fitness and kind of P90X and stuff and want to bash it. But I mean, it's a good entry point, It may not be where you stay, but it's a starting point.
Yeah, I mean, we all want to look good. It's inevitable. We want to look good. We want to feel good. And when the media portrays something that looks good and feels good, you're like, well, I should be living that. How do I live that? And then you read what's in there. And then sometimes you're disappointed because you realize that, it actually takes hard work. It actually takes you changing your whole life to create that. And no one tells you, are you willing to commit? Are you willing to sacrifice? And that's tough. And I think that's where I'm at, where I'm saying, this is where you want to live. I know that. You know that. But what are you willing to do to live that life? And how can I motivate you, basically?
Oh, man, these are going to be exciting times when you look back in a couple of years. I guarantee that. Mm-hmm. So if you could go back and tell yourself anything about training to yourself when you first were around 21 and starting to care about training, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
That's a great question. I would say keep doing what you're doing because you're going in the right direction. And don't get discouraged. Don't worry about what other people are doing or thinking or saying. Just do what feels good to you and keep talking about it in an open mind, and everything is going to be all right. And
why is an open mind so important to you? We go back to I think that's why you and Barbell Shrugged get along so much, is because we kind of agree on that. So I'd love to hear why you feel like that's such an important life skill.
I don't really know, but maybe it's because when I was a kid, I was so scared. I could barely leave my mother's side. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with friends or do sleepovers or go on a camp because I was scared of what could happen. And I feel like society, different disciplines, dogma instills fear. And, for example, yesterday I posted this thing on Instagram where I'm like, do you think handstand push-ups are going to show up in the Open for the CrossFit Games this year? And everyone's like, yeah, I hope so. And everyone's kind of excited and whatnot. And then someone posts a comment, and probably not in a negative way, posts a comment that says, oh, yeah, everyone's going to have fucked up necks in 10 years in CrossFit. And when I hear that, I hear fear. Because, first of all, you're commenting on something that has nothing to do with the question. You just had to express your opinion. And that, to me, is just telling me you're scared of something. Now, I hear that you're scared, but what are you going to do about it? And I feel like we get so caught in this dogma. We get so caught in what we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to look like, how we're supposed to perform, that it closes our mind. It really narrows the path that we have in life. And if we just look around us, we realize, hey, you know what? You may be having a crappy day, but at the end of the day today, realize the good stuff that you have. Realize the options that you have. You may be living on the streets right now, but you do have an option. You may be dying of cancer right now, but you are alive right now. And that is hard to have, and I guess people find it in their faith, people find it in family and friends, but we have to find it in ourselves. And that's why I try to keep an open mind and encourage people to have an open mind, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all made of the same thing. We live on the same planet, breathe the same air. And yeah, maybe we're dealt different cards, but it's what we do with that. And if we have a closed mind, we're probably not going to maximize that.
Boom. You heard the man.
There it is.
So on that same note, kind of backtracking just a little bit, I don't know what this, that was just a beautiful thing said. I feel like I'm just skimming over that. But
Sure.
Back to the questions. What is the biggest mistake you see most new people make? So you're a coach. You travel the world now. You do these awesome freestyle movement seminars. You got the book. Come in contact with a lot of new people, I'm sure, at San Francisco CrossFit as well. What's the number one big mistake you see people just getting into fitness or just finally starting to take things serious? What are they making that mistake?
You know, those that are trying to take it serious, I see. Well, let me start from the beginning here. I feel like if you're an athlete or someone that wants to get into fitness or sport, you go through different stages. The first stage is kind of like being a child. You are dependent of a system, of a coach, of a group of people, of rules, of a discipline, of a game, and you're really dependent of this thing, and you're just learning. And as you're learning, you start maturing. And eventually, you're like, you know what? I really care about this thing. I want to take it to the next level. But at the same time, there's a part of you that feels like I need to do it on my own. And that's kind of the teenage phase that you go through. And all of a sudden, you're like, I don't need my coach. I don't need this discipline. I don't need these people. I just need to go and do my own thing. And you go out and make some mistakes, and you explore on your own, and everyone needs to do this. But the biggest mistake is getting caught in that teenage phase, because eventually what you realize is that you do need someone. You do need a coach. You do need people. You need a discipline. You need rules, and you need to follow something. But it can't just be like you were when you were a child. It needs to be a collaborative effort where there's actually communication. There is a common goal, and everyone's working as a team towards these things. But at the same time, you're still getting that individualized direction and attention that we all need. And that's hard. So I think the biggest mistake is once you go out and become a teenager in your kind of adaptation into fitness and sport and just living this athletic lifestyle, is getting caught in the teenage world. It's easy, you know, when you're a teenager, you're like, oh, I just want to hang out with girls right now and maybe drink a little bit and party and come home late, and my parents suck, and, you know, I know everything. And you encounter other people like that, and you're like, yeah, we are freaking amazing. We're doing the right thing. And it's convincing each other that that teenage phase is it, and that's where we should be living. But eventually everyone hits that wall, and they're like, you know what? Maybe my parents were right. Maybe my coach was right. Maybe I need my coach, but I need my coach in a different way. I'm ready to establish that relationship now.
That might be the coolest little analogy explanation for that I've ever heard. I really like that. I'm sure we'll rip it off very soon. So I got your book right here.
Woo!
And I highlighted something in here. It says, in order to create the most effective plan for individual growth and development, we need to understand what motivates us. Mm-hmm. So I love that line because I think it's really true. You can't do anything well anyway without knowing why you're doing it and what's motivating you. So Carl, what motivates you?
You know, that's a tough one, but people motivate me. I'm so grateful to be living in a time where I post a video or I talk about something and I get immediate feedback, and there's so much positive reinforcement. Carl, your video is great, thank you. Or I'm sitting at a hotel and someone walks by and they're like, Carl, I love your stuff, you changed my life. And that really motivates me. And, you know, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I'm about to get married this year. I have a beautiful fiance. She's just amazing. And we both...
You just broke the hearts of many women right now.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I did, and thank you for showing the love always. But we also became foster parents to a beautiful girl, a teenager, and we've gone through a lot of struggle. And I'm just putting it out there right now because at the end of the day, the people that really drive me are them. They're amazing. They're amazing, and your family, your friends, that's the reason we do everything, and that's why I do what I do, and I just happen to be doing it right now in the fitness space, but I know that it will evolve into other things down the line.
That's awesome. Have you had, now that, you mentioned that you've been working hard at this for 10 years, and now you finally get some steam, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. During all this time, have you had challenges keeping that, balance between work and then your personal life with your relationships?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been really hard, especially when I was traveling a lot. It's easy to get caught in it's almost like for whatever period of time that you're gone, you're like a superstar and you can do no wrong and you're amazing. And then all of a sudden you come home and you're like, take out the trash, do the dishes, and you're like, what? I don't do that. So that's definitely caused tension, and that's just something that we've had to work out. And yeah, it's been really, really hard. And especially there's just something about when there's popularity or some hype around people that, like around me, there's been a little hype, and you just start feeling the pressure, and you feel like you have to live up to other people's expectations, and you start creating the story in your head. Oh, what are people thinking? Or should I do it like this or like that? And that causes you to be a different person, and that also causes tension in your relationships, from friendships to your wife to your kids. And my fiance and my daughter, they feel it. They feel when I'm feeling stressed or when I have pressure. So yeah, there's a lot of that, and I have to work on that every day.
So it's never ending, right?
Never ending. But once you come to realize that you're just a guy doing something that you believe in, and you're fortunate enough to have the support of people, you keep going. And you stay true to that, and you take care of the people that you love and that love you.
So on that same note, you mentioned traveling a lot. I remember we talked the first time we met. This would have been, you were on episode 84?
Something like that.
And you were talking about how you had recently been traveling a lot for seminars, and how you thought it was funny how and I think we were talking with Kelly at the same time, Kelly Storat, Mobility Wad, and it was Barbell Shrugged crew, and then you two. We were all talking about how crazy it is that, we're these people who a lot of people come to for the fitness knowledge, and here we are traveling all the time, and we can't even find the time to train half the time because we're day in, day out on an airplane. We're traveling, or, the situation. So we were falling prey to the same things that a lot of people who listen to us who have traveling jobs did. I remember hearing you and Kelly talk about that, and it was definitely the case for us at the time. We had definitely kind of been at our worst. That's not to say we weren't training. We were training, but it wasn't, what we would have been doing if we were at home. And,
right.
And that's when we started the whole DEET, drop everything and train. We have some hashtags with that. But how did you end up kind of nixing that one in the bud? Have you figured anything out? What's the status?
That took me a long time. Yeah, that one took me a long time to figure out. But 2013, I told myself, all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? 2014, I retire. I'm done. I'm moving on. I'm doing whatever else. I'm done with this whole thing. I don't want to continue down this path. I just want to be done. And it's because I wasn't feeling good. I just felt like crap, and I couldn't find myself, the athletic self that I was before, and I just felt like all I needed to do was quit my job. I just needed to quit my job, take a vacation, and just chill. But in the process of quitting and retiring, I discovered that I needed to just carve out time for myself. And the expectations of getting work done were set by me. I'm self-employed. I'm my own boss. And I'm allowing myself to get carried away and dragged down by myself and not prioritizing things like sleep and eating and training. And, oh, no, I'm too tired to train. So I made it a point to, there was Nate Helming, who I work with and is a coach at San Francisco CrossFit. He's like, I'm just taking the classes at San Francisco CrossFit. I'm just dropping in. And I was like, you know what? I may drop in too, but I didn't want to drop in. I was almost shy dropping in. I was like, I'm better than this. I don't need to go to a stupid class. Mm-hmm. But I started dropping in, and I was like, this kind of feels good. And I just made a commitment. Every morning at 8 a.m., I would show up at San Francisco CrossFit 5 days a week, no matter what. If I trained hard, great. If I couldn't train hard, I would just train, and I would do whatever I could. And I've been a member now, officially a member, training every day at 8 a.m. at San Francisco CrossFit for the past year and a half. And I'm so much better. Of course, I feel like I could do more, but I'm doing something. And that something is making me feel better.
I think that's a good point. And I think if at any point, if anyone listening to this is thinking, what should I do? Should I do 5-3-1? Should I do this program, this program, this program? You're so confused, you're getting wrapped up in the details. I think it's just so simple. Or if you're just not training, like you've just come to a point where all the mental stuff in your head has made you come to no action, then I say just jump into CrossFit, because that's why it works. That's why CrossFit is so awesome. It's because you got that community, people are motivating you. You don't have to think about anything, and that's why it works. Just jump into CrossFit.
Exactly. And, I even dropped into a class the other day at Equinox, just a health club. It was like a rowing class with some aerobics, and I was jumping on Bosu balls. And guess what? It was kind of fun. It was cool. I got a workout in. It was awesome. And would I do it, is that my style? No, it's not my style. But I did it with some people that I like and friends, and it was just kind of a cool thing. And I was like, you just have to do something. Just get up and do something. And you're probably not going to be able to do it alone, so find some friends, go for a hike, run up the hill once, just breathe heavy for a second. It's guaranteed to create this addiction, because feeling good is addicting. And I think that's what you have to do, just do something. So, yeah, you make a good point.
Well, thank you. So final couple questions. Do you have any daily morning rituals or anything like that?
You know what? My favorite part of the day is getting up, especially if it's still dark, going into the kitchen. I open the fridge, I pull out some fruit, and I sit down on this little stool that we have, and I just sit there in complete silence for maybe just 5 minutes. And I'm just like chewing down some fruit, thinking about the day. It's so mellow, it's kind of cool. And I love that part. And when I'm at a hotel, I do the same thing. I just kind of get up, I sit up out of bed, and I just sit on the edge of my bed for a few minutes. And it's just almost like how I collect my thoughts, and I kind of wake up and become aware of how I'm feeling today. Am I anxious about something? Am I nervous? Am I happy? What is that, and what am I going to do with it? So it's kind of my awareness moment. Yeah, that's the only real thing that I really do, is to spend that 5 minutes in silence.
And you find that helps better prep you for the. Do you ever miss out on a day and actually feel the oh man, or like, I don't know if it'd be that obvious to you, but has it been like, oh, I didn't do my thing today? And
a lot, actually. And it's happened because currently at home we have just a lot going on, and being a parent is something that's new for me, and it's something that we're learning, and there's constant change, and sometimes you're just woken up without any notice, and all of a sudden you're going 110%, spinning your wheels, and you miss out on that moment for yourself.
Right, and you adopted how old is she? She's not young, right?
She's 16, yeah.
16. So you just put yourself right in the fire there, didn't you, champ?
Yeah, she's a wonderful girl, though. We love her so much. She's changed our lives. She's amazing. But like any parent that's out there listening, that it's not tough. And some people are like, oh yeah, she's 16. You're like, well, 16 is a tough age too. So we're here to support her, and she's phenomenal. I mean, she has taught us so much, and yeah, she's fantastic. But of course, life can throw you off a little bit when you're caring for others, and that's something that you have to deal with. So you have to carve out that time to find yourself.
That's awesome. All right, well, my hair's not looking as good as yours, which is why I'm wearing the hat. I actually got a haircut here pretty soon, so we'll go ahead and wrap up. Tell everybody where to expect this new Freestyle Connection stuff, what you have in the works, and where they can find you.
Well, if you go to freestyleconnection.com right now, there is actually a live website. It's just a blog format, but very soon you're going to see this thing evolving into an online channel that's going to give you a lot of content, and you're going to see me collaborating with a lot of coaches. So freestyleconnection.com is the place to go. You can also find me on Instagram. It's become a very simple way to communicate with people that follow my work, and I'm at Carl Paoli, CarlPaoli, and you can find me with the same handle, Carl Paoli, on Twitter and Facebook, of course. But freestyleconnection.com will be the site, and you'll see gymnasticswad.com start transitioning over into more of a library of content that I've accumulated over the past 6 years, and then creating new content now under the new umbrella.
Nice. Looking forward to that. And hopefully we'll have you back on Shrugged here soon. Are you going to be at the Arnold? I forgot.
I won't be at the Arnold, but I hope to see you guys soon. I don't know what my next event is, but I'm going to be in Asia. I'm going to be in Singapore, in South Korea, in Seoul, and Tokyo, and cross your fingers, maybe Hong Kong by the end of the month. And
those are all for seminars, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So if you're in any of those spots, make sure you go get registered. Where can people do that at?
They can do that either on gymnasticswad.com/seminars, or if you go to freestyleconnection.com, that will be available very soon. But gymnasticswad.com/seminars is where you'll find the registration. If you can't find that link, just go to my Instagram. You'll find plenty of posts of me self-promoting.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being my second interview, and hopefully we'll see you very, very soon, since you're just up the road now.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I can't wait to see you again.
All right. See you, Carl.
I did.
Join the conversation every week after the episode over at barbellshrugged.com. This is also where you'll find new episodes of Barbell Shrugged, Technique Wad, Nuggets and Pearls, Barbell Business, Get Change, plus new articles every day on our daily blog, written by us, guests of the show, and some of the biggest names in strength and conditioning. So, go there and leave a comment now. Oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. Yay, that's so awesome.
Did you like this video? If so, subscribe to our channel and share this with your friends.
And if you want even more free, awesome resources to help you reach your fitness goals, plus some updates that we only share over email, head over to barbellshrugged.com and sign up for the newsletter.